Okay, so we're going to start doing a thing called 1 point perspective. 1 point perspective. And 1 point perspective means that it's like a three-dimensional drawing where everything focuses around 1 point. So what you got to do with your 1 point perspective is you start by making 1 point. So just make 1 point. You can make it anywhere you want on the paper. So for instance, I'll make mine right there. You can make it anywhere you want, so just make a point. Okay. Now, the thing you do at this point is that you make sure that it attaches very accurately to each corner of your paper. So it's got to be completely straight. Really important that you keep your lines pointing exactly at the corners, because your entire drawing depends on the accuracy of these lines. Does everybody have this? Okay. Now what we're doing is we're looking from the back of the room to the front of the room. So now we're going to make the front wall, or the far wall. Some people might even call it the back wall, but the opposite wall. And here's the choice you have. If you want it to look like walleye vision, like that part is very far away, you make a dot really close to the center point. If you want to make it look very close, you can make it closer to the edge. I usually recommend something around halfway, although each version is interesting in its own way. So I'm going to put 1 point right here. It's just a point. Okay. Now the key thing when constructing these lines is that they have to be completely parallel to the edge of the paper. Parallel meaning going exactly the same direction. So when I make this one, I have to make sure that it's pointed straight down. A little trick I did to make it point straight down, I held the top and let the ruler fall straight down. And gravity tells me what's up and down. Does that make sense? Okay. So that gives me this point. Now I have this point. Now I've got to make this line. It's going to be completely parallel to the floor. Okay? I'm going to make this line from here straight up. It needs to be completely parallel to the edge. We've got 3 points, and then our last one comes straight across here. And if I've done it correctly, I'm going to end up with a rectangle. And if I made mistakes, it's going to be a little bit off. As you can see with mine, unfortunately, it is a little bit off. We'll have to go with this. Okay. So now you should have your rectangle. And the next step is to get rid of everything inside the rectangle except for the point. So this is why we do it in pencil. This is why also all your original marks, all of them, make them very light. Okay? You can darken them in later. Make all your original marks light. So now, erase, 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 erase. Okay, so today we said we make a bedroom. So we're gonna do, how about we do a bed and a dresser? Does that sound okay? All right, first what we're gonna do is a bed. So, and maybe we'll do a window as well. All right, so the bed. The way I see this bed is it's going to be in this corner of the room. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a foundation for the bed. The bed is going to look like a rectangular prism. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make little lines that represent the height of the bed. So this is the bottom of the bed frame. It's the bottom of the bed frame right here. I'm going to make a little line here, and another one parallel to it right here. They need to be parallel. They need to be exactly the same height. Parallel and the same height. Has everybody done that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, now, this bed is going to be coming this way against the wall. Now, this is what's interesting about one-point perspective. Even when you think of something that's long and rectangular like this, when you look at it in perspective, it gets shortened. We call it foreshortening. So even though it's a bed that's coming this way, it's only going to come a small amount out of the wall. So we're going to make just a point right here. So everybody make a point about halfway, maybe a little less than halfway down to there. All right. Now the key is that we're making a foundation. So we're basically making a rectangular prism in perspective. So make a very light line that's easy to erase. Just make it parallel to the bottom of the page in this direction away from that point. A very light line parallel to the bottom of the page in this direction away from the point. Now, key is setting up this line here. So you see this point at the bottom of this line, we're going to use our focal point, our vanishing point. We're going to line up the ruler with both of these and construct this line right here. So see, we line up to here and here, we construct this line. And when we have that, we can erase the excess of our line from the previous line. Okay? Next, what we're going to do, we're going to make vertical lines coming from here and from here. Again, what you do is you make them very light. Light so they can be erased. I'm going to make one coming straight up right here, and one coming straight up right here. So now that we have these two lines, what we do is we connect to the two back lines. But we connect them using the vanishing point. So connect here, get rid of the extra. Also, we connect here. There won't be much extra on that one for me. There we go. We have that. We're almost done with our rectangular prism. The last two lines are actually very easy. We connect this line to this line, and we connect this line to this line. Okay, so we have our rectangular prism facing away from the wall. Take a moment and finish it. Hold them up if you got them. You want me to see them? Looks good, looks good. Okay, good. Now, the next thing to do is to assess which of these lines will be visible and which ones need to be erased. So, Your participation, please. Does this line remain visible, or does it need to be erased? Erased. How about this one? Erased. How about this little piece here? Erased. How about this one? You keep it or get rid of it? Keep it. How about this one? Erase. Are we done? Is that everything we need? Yes? No? Maybe so?
Detail?
Details. Okay, but we have the fundamental form.
Yes.
So now we're going to start to give it its personality. Okay, the way I'm envisioning this is a foundation with a mattress on top of it. So it's very simple to subdivide this into a foundation with a mattress on top of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it pretty much in half this way. So everybody, eyes up. I'm going to cut this part straight across, turning this into the mattress and this into the foundation. I'm also going to take this line, line up with the focal point, and this is my mattress on top there. Okay, now the bottom part is where the legs and stuff are. So here's a quick trick that you can do to make this look a lot more interesting. One of my favorite little designs is this. It's like a little cutout oval. If I add that in, take that out, all of a sudden it has this look of standing on the ground rather than just being a lump. I can do a similar thing here, which is a little harder to add in, but it works basically like that. So we've got now the legs of a bed. You can see space under the bed now. Okay, now it's time to add details like a blanket, like a pillow. The key with these things is that anything with really soft lines, you're not going to draw with the ruler. And you're probably not going to worry too much about the focal point either. You might want to do the fundamentals, the things underlying them. But it's pretty easy to say that a pillow is going to kind of be, it's going to rest above, it's going to occupy this space. If you notice, I freehanded these lines, but they are kind of agreeing with the focal point in principle. So they kind of agree with the focal point. And then it's really hard to add any touches that show softness with a whiteboard marker. A little bit of softness. I don't know if that really shows softness. And then you can add a blanket. Say this is a turn down bed. And, here's the sheet line. Which will remain white. And then the cover will be a different color. So here's where you might add a little color. We'll say it's a blue cover. So this is going to turn blue. By the way, the edges, you can begin to soften the edges. Not the best blue. Let's try a different blue. A little bit better. So the detail aspect is where the art really kind of comes in. It's about you get your sense of what you're trying to draw, and then when it's time for the details, this is where your art skills really take over. Everything's just got to agree with the principles of one-point perspective. So make this blue as well. I think we'll go with the white pillow, blue bed, white sheet. You can add little details. Okay. So that's the basic idea of a bed. And as you can see, that most things you're actually going to do in one-point perspective are just prisms. It's the idea of constructing a prism and then altering it to give it some personality. So next, let's do a dresser. We'll do a dresser, we'll do it on this side of the room, across from the bed. So is everybody ready? Yes?